So, picture this. You're sitting on the edge of your bed, and, the glow of the phone screen is just illuminating your face.
Right. Yeah. It's late.
Exactly, it's past midnight. And you're scrolling through this text thread that honestly hasn't changed in like 8 months.
But you're still looking at it?
Yeah, the words are entirely familiar. They're worn smooth by repetition, like a stone you just keep turning over and over in your pocket.
I know exactly that feeling.
And you tell yourself you're just like casually looking back. But your breathing is shallow, your shoulders are creeping up toward your ears, and your stomach is just in an absolute knot.
The body is reacting.
Completely. And the crazy thing is, you did everything you were supposed to do to move on. You deleted the photos, you boxed up the gifts, you even stopped going to that specific coffee shop.
But something inside of you is still completely tethered to that screen.
Yes. Why does that happen? Because it feels like standing in the doorway of a room I've already left. But for some reason, my nervous system just refuses to drop the key.
Well, because your body is treating that old text thread like an active, present tense situation.
Wait, so it thinks it's happening right now?
Oh, absolutely. And the really interesting thing is, it isn't even about the specific person on the other end of those messages anymore.
It's not.
No. It is about the space between what happened and what never actually got said. You're basically sitting in the silence of an incomplete pattern.
An incomplete pattern. Okay, so what are we actually doing here today then in this deep dive, if we aren't just like trying to get unstuck from the past?
Our mission today is to explore that quiet hum of what I call unfinished business. We're going to figure out how to finally step out of that doorway you mentioned and close the loop.
I love that because if I'm completely honest, carrying this around is exhausting. We do all this physical work of creating distance, but the body it completely ignores the memo.
It ignores the memo because from a neurological and emotional standpoint, the event isn't actually over.
It's not over.
Right. To understand this, we have to look at the core of Gestalt therapy. The word Gestalt roughly translates to whole or pattern.
Okay, whole pattern.
Yeah. And human beings are fundamentally wired to perceive and create complete patterns. Think about it like this. If you hear a familiar song and the radio cuts out right before the final chord.
Oh, your brain hates that. It will just supply that missing chord for you. It craves the resolution.
Exactly. Now just apply that drive for completion to your emotional life.
Okay.
When you experience a rupture, like a relationship ending abruptly, or a betrayal, or even just a tense conversation where you didn't defend yourself, that is an open loop.
So it's not just the big dramatic heartbreaks.
Not at all. It's often the small, quiet ruptures. A friend you drifted from, a job you left with simmering resentment, or, an apology you never gave.
Wow, okay.
In my practice, we call this unfinished business. Your nervous system doesn't categorize this as a memory to be neatly filed away. It categorizes it as an active, ongoing task.
Man, so it's basically stealing the present moment.
Completely. That tension you feel in your shoulders at midnight isn't a failure to let go. It's your organism actively holding the energy of that unresolved moment, just waiting for the final chord to strike so it can finally rest.
That makes so much sense, but I have a pushback here.
Sure. What is it?
If keeping these loops open is so incredibly painful and physically exhausting, why would our bodies evolve to do this to us? I mean, it seems entirely counterproductive to store all this heavy, unprocessed junk.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, because if I drop a hot pan, my reflex is to pull my hand away instantly to stop the pain. Why doesn't the brain just drop an emotional burn?
Well, because dropping a hot pan ensures your immediate physical survival. Dropping an emotional conflict, historically speaking, could threaten your social survival.
Oh, so it's prioritizing safety over comfort.
Exactly. To see how this mechanism works, you really have to look at how an experience actually moves through the body.
Walk me through that.
Okay, imagine an emotional response as a physical wave. It starts with a sensation, maybe a sudden heat in your chest.
Or like a tightness in your throat.
Right. Then comes awareness. You realize, oh, I am incredibly angry. Then comes mobilization. Your heart beats faster, your lungs pull in extra oxygen. Your body is gathering the literal energetic resources to take action.
I know exactly what you mean. It's that surge where you're opening your mouth to speak, or you're physically stepping forward to confront someone. You are fully loaded.
Right, you're at the peak.
Yeah.
And the natural next steps are taking that action, making contact with the environment or the person, and then experiencing the satisfaction of having expressed your truth.
And then the wave breaks.
Exactly.
Yes.
Once that happens, the wave crashes on the shore, The water recedes and you withdraw into rest.
Yeah.
That is the complete cycle.
Okay, but what happens if, right at the peak of that wave, right as my lungs are full of air and I'm about to speak my anger, my brain calculates a massive risk?
Like what?
The risk being, if I yell at my boss, I lose my job, or if I tell my partner how deeply they hurt me, they might leave and I'll be alone.
Then your brain hits the emergency brake.
It just stops the wave.
It tries to. The social or survival cost of completing the action appears too high. So you swallow the words. You force a polite smile. You divert the energy.
But the energy doesn't just go away, does it?
No, the mobilization, that biological surge of adrenaline and oxygen doesn't just evaporate because you decided to smile.
Yeah.
It gets suspended in your tissue. The cycle is interrupted right before contact.
This is so heavy. So when I sit there at a dinner table, swallowing my truth to keep the peace, and I tell myself, I'm just avoiding a fight.
Yeah.
I'm not just avoiding the other person. I am actively severing contact with my own biological reality. I'm abandoning the wave mid-crest. Am I just abandoning myself in those moments?
You are. You are leaving a massive energetic charge trapped in your body. We call these embodied interruptions.
Embodied interruptions, wow.
The body literally braces for the impact of that unexpressed emotion. And because the brain hates an incomplete pattern, like we talked about, it keeps checking back.
So that's the midnight scrolling.
Exactly. Every time you scroll through those old messages, your nervous system is essentially asking, is it safe to finish the wave now? Can we release this tension now?
That reframes the midnight scrolling completely. I always viewed it as a kind of emotional masochism, but it's actually the body begging for a safe environment to finish a cycle.
It really is.
Still, if my brain is hitting the emergency brake to protect me, it seems like we develop incredibly complex, subtle ways of making sure that wave never crashes.
Oh, the nervous system is brilliant at architectural workarounds.
Why do we do this? Like, why do we say I'm fine when the quiet ache is right there?
Well, it builds specific defense mechanisms to manage that trapped energy so it doesn't completely overwhelm you.
What do those look like?
One of the most common ways we interrupt our own cycles is through retroflexion. This is the redirection of the mobilized energy back onto yourself.
Oh, this makes sense. If the energy is already gathered to punch outward, but the brain says punching outward will get me fired or abandoned, the energy just U-turns.
Exactly. You turn it inward.
So instead of telling my friend, you completely crossed a boundary and I'm furious, I go home and spend the evening tearing myself apart for being too sensitive.
Right. You become both the aggressor and the victim in your own internal ecosystem. The anger is expressed, but you absorb the full destructive force of it.
That is brutally relatable. What else do we do?
What another deeply ingrained workaround is projection.
Okay, how does that work?
This happens when the truth of your own internal state feels so unacceptable or dangerous that your nervous system disowns it entirely and assigns it to someone else.
Like when I haven't reached out to a friend in months because I've been overwhelmed, and deep down I feel guilty and fear I'm a terrible friend.
Yes.
But instead of feeling that guilt and making the call, I convince myself that they are the ones who don't care about me. I project my own fear of abandonment onto them to justify keeping the distance.
And in doing so, you avoid the vulnerability of making actual contact. You build an entire narrative based on an interrupted feeling.
It's all just smoke and mirrors.
It is. Then there is confluence, which is a total blurring of boundaries. You sense a conflict arising, that wave of sensation, and to abort the mission, you instantly merge with the other person's desires.
The chronic people pleaser response. The immediate, no, it's totally fine, whatever you want to do, when every cell in my body is screaming that it is absolutely not fine.
You sacrifice your form to maintain the connection. But the connection is false because the real you has vanished from the interaction.
I'm just erasing my own outline so I don't clash with theirs.
Beautifully put. Finally, there is deflection.
Which is what?
This is where you encounter the raw heat of an emotion and you immediately change the subject, crack a sarcastic joke, or hyper-intellectualize the situation.
Oh, I do that. You turn the emotional reality into a philosophical debate so you don't have to feel the burn.
Exactly. You bounce the energy away.
I mean, I see the utility in all of these. They're incredibly effective shock absorbers for daily life. But the sheer weight of carrying all these deflected, projected, and retroflected loops, it's suffocating.
It is exhausting.
If these are adaptations designed to keep me safe, why do they eventually start to feel like a prison?
Because survival strategies are meant for acute threats, not chronic habitation.
Oh, wow.
When you constantly interrupt your own experience, you lose touch with your own vitality. The energy required to keep all those waves suspended leaves you exhausted, numb, and incapable of fully experiencing joy in the present.
The walls I built to keep the threat out are now keeping me locked in.
Exactly right.
So how do I dismantle the walls? If I catch myself retroflecting, beating myself up instead of expressing anger, just knowing I'm doing it doesn't make the physical knot in my stomach go away.
No, it doesn't. Dismantling the walls begins with phenomenological awareness, or what we sometimes call responsibility, the ability to respond to your own experience with honesty.
Phenomenological awareness. That sounds intense. What does that actually mean?
It isn't about digging through your childhood to figure out why you built a wall. It is simply the practice of observing the present physical reality of the wall without judgment.
So I just notice it.
You stop trying to fix the sensation, and you stop telling yourself a story about it.
So no narrative at all. No, I'm feeling this tightness in my throat because my ex didn't respect me.
No narrative. The narrative is often just another form of deflection.
Interesting.
You bring your attention solely to the physical sensation, the heat in your chest, the shallowness of your breath, the clenching of your jaw. You meet the biological reality of the trapped energy, and you internally say to it, oh, there you are.
There you are, just welcoming it.
You witness your own survival mechanism. The nervous system doesn't need to be scolded or aggressively fixed. It just needs to be witnessed by you.
That creates a profound shift. I feel like I'm stepping out of the courtroom where I'm constantly prosecuting myself or the other person, and I'm just sitting in the room with the physical reality of my body.
That's exactly the shift.
But here is the massive roadblock I hit with this entire concept.
What is it?
I understand how to sit with the feeling now, but to complete the pattern, to actually close the loop, I can't go back in time. Do I need to call this person from 5 years ago to finally close the loop?
No.
Because I have unfinished business with people who are no longer in my life. The bridge is burned. The person might be dead. It is physically impossible to have that final confrontation, to let the wave crash.
This is where we break the most common misconception about emotional closure. You do not need the original players to finish the cycle.
I don't.
Not at all. Gestalt operates on the reality that the unfinished business is not actually housed in the past, and it is not housed in the other person.
Where is it?
It is living entirely within your own neurology right now.
Yeah.
The mobilization is yours. The suppressed energy is yours. Therefore, the completion only requires your full presence. You can complete the cycle now, with yourself.
You're saying I don't need their apology to tell my nervous system the threat is over? I don't need them to hear me for the loop to close?
You need to be heard. But you can provide the witnessing for yourself. You can let the mobilized energy finally reach the point of contact internally.
How does that actually work in practice? If I'm sitting here right now holding the weight of a conversation that ended horribly 5 years ago, how do I give my nervous system the final chord of that song?
You create a space for the wave to finish its motion. I invite you and anyone listening right now to try this.
Okay, I'm ready.
Notice the physical posture you are holding as you think about that unresolved moment. Notice the bracing in your body.
Yeah, my shoulders are tight.
Now close your eyes and visualize lighting a single candle in an empty room. Bring the memory of that person or that specific moment into the room.
Okay.
But do not bring them in as an antagonist or a threat. Bring them in simply as a guest in your awareness.
Okay, the image is there. And immediately, I can feel my heart rate picking up. The mobilization is starting just looking at the memory.
Stay with the physical mobilization. Do not interrupt it. Do not tell a story about it.
Just feeling it.
Now, find the exact words that your body swallowed in that original moment. Not the polished, mature words you think you should say now. The raw, terrifying words that got trapped in your throat back then. What were they?
I think I needed you to stay.
Speak it out loud, or let it echo loudly in your mind. Let the vibration of that truth move through your chest.
I needed you to stay.
Keep going.
It terrified me when you pulled away. I was furious that you didn't fight for us.
How does that feel in your body right now?
Doing this, just sitting with the sheer biological reality of those words without actively bracing against them, it feels entirely different than analyzing the relationship.
It feels different from closure, doesn't it?
It does. My chest feels physically lighter. It's a very strange sensation. It feels like building a bridge from the part of me left behind to the part ready to walk forward.
Genuine completion doesn't change the world. It changes you. You carry the story differently now, as a compass rather than a burden.
Because my nervous system finally got to execute the action it prepared for all those years ago.
Yes. You didn't suppress the wave, you rode it to the shore. You made contact with your own truth. This internal completion doesn't erase the past, but the neuroplasticity of your brain shifts.
The energy that was locked up in maintaining that open loop is suddenly released back into my system.
Exactly.
That release of energy is tangible, but I have to admit, as that heavy background static fades out, there is suddenly this massive space.
Space can be scary.
It really is. The silence it leaves behind is deeply intimidating. With that space freed up, a terrifying realization creeps in for me.
If it's the realization.
If I have the capacity to finish this, what else have I been postponing?
I love that. That terror is completely normal.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. It is the friction of neuroplasticity. Finishing one cycle brings awareness, and awareness ripples to the shelved dreams and crossed boundaries.
It's like I'm suddenly awake to everything.
Your brain is operating without the heavy armor it's carried for years. When you complete an old cycle, your nervous system registers a new baseline of safety. It realizes it has the capacity to handle contact.
So it naturally begins to look at the present moment.
Right, and it asks, where else am I holding my breath? You start to notice the boundaries you aren't setting today. You notice the creative projects you keep shelving because you are afraid of failing.
It's the realization that I've been using the exhaustion of the past as an excuse to avoid the risk of the present.
Precisely. But this is where you must be incredibly gentle with yourself. You are not a problem to be solved. We are more like rivers always moving, continuously reshaping our own banks.
I love that image.
You do not need to instantly fix every open loop in your life. There is no perfect moment to begin, only the moment you choose to complete what is in front of you.
So the goal isn't a perfectly sanitized, conflict-free existence.
Not at all. The goal is simply to build the muscle of awareness. When you catch yourself holding your breath in a meeting or typing out a text message and erasing it, you now have the tools to pause.
I can choose to let the wave crash in real time instead of storing it for midnight 5 years from now.
Yes, you reclaim your own vitality. You stop viewing yourself as a broken machine and start recognizing yourself as a highly adaptive organism learning to process its environment.
If you are listening to this right now, feeling the weight of your own unfinished business, I want you to look at those defensive walls you've built. The projection, the people-pleasing, the silent self-criticism.
Just observe them.
Right. Recognize how incredibly hard your nervous system has worked to keep you safe. You don't have to tear the walls down violently or scold yourself. You just have to sit with the physical reality of the emotion, look at the guest in the room, and let yourself finally finish the sentence.
And as you practice giving yourself that witnessing, you fundamentally change the architecture of your future interactions.
You actually walk into the present room.
Exactly. Which leaves us with a final lingering question for you to explore on your own.
What's the question?
Now that you know the power of completing a cycle internally, and you understand the mechanics of the wave, how might you show up differently in your very next conversation, knowing you have the tools to ensure nothing true is ever left unsaid again?